Hi everyone, I'm doing my intro at the end because things got deleted. So, today is episode 6, and it's the second to last episode. This might be episode 7, I don't know. This is the second to last episode of Southern Hearts and Signed Kisses. Woo, we're almost there. So, I want to tell you about the books I'm reading for this particular vlog, and then we'll get into it. So first, I'm going to read The Wolf in Sheep Clothing by Jaquel J. I am also going to be reading 24 Hours by Brianna Michelle. I will also be reading Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen, Ember by Sky Moon, Match My Nasty by India T. Norfleet, and Mine by Nissan. So, let's get into it. So, the first book I read, I'm going to talk about 4 of them, or 3 to 4 of them, without any, me going through the book because I did them before I even started this video. So the first one I read in Norway, usually on planes, and that was Wolf in Sheep Clothing by Jaquel J. I gave this one 4 stars. It was really good. I had a good time reading it. I gave it 4 stars. I would definitely read more about this author. There's a lot of popular books that she has, and I didn't read her most popular, so that's probably what I would start with next time. I really enjoy her writing. I like her characters, so she would definitely be getting more reads by me. The next book I read was 24 Hours, a paranormal novella by Brianna Michelle. Now, I read this one because I didn't feel like reading full-blown novels that were like 300 to 500 pages, but I liked it. It was good enough. I would give it like a 3.5. I would definitely read more by her because I really want to read a certain book that she owns, but until I read that one, I didn't have a lot of time left. The event is in October. It is September. I have less than a month, so I wanted to, get some shorter books in there. But it was good enough, and I would definitely read more by her as well. Next, I read Ember by Sky Moon. Now, I'm going to give this one a 2.5. I thought the way that the author talked about grief and guilt and survivor's guilt was very well done. It started out very strong, in my opinion, and then it tapered off at the halfway point. And I don't know, I didn't really buy the chemistry between the characters, the 2 main love interests, and I also saw their love as more of a friendship than a romantic relationship. I don't know if that was just me, but again, it's getting a 2.5 because towards the end, it lost me. There was things going on. I was just like, So maybe a 2.5 to a 3. And yeah. Hi guys. So I actually lost the footage of those first 4 books talking about them, and then I redid it talking about them half-heartedly, and I still forgot to talk about Match My Nasty. But what I'm going to say about Match My Nasty is that it was a 5-star. It was so good. It's an erotic novella, but it still has a little bit of a plot behind the scenes and a little bit of a romance growing behind the scenes. But because that's not its main focus, it's not romance, I appreciate this so much more. There's this thing going around where people are so horned up for books, but they would read like a big thick fantasy series just for the smut, or they'll read a 5-book romance series just for the smut, when you could read erotic novellas that are so short and pack a punch, and some of them, if they're done right, have something in the background going on that's still a plot. I love this book. It was really, really good. I didn't know India T. Norfleet was mainly a erotic novel writer, but now that I do, I think she's doing an amazing job, and she does a great job. I would definitely read more by her. So yeah. Hi everyone. So I'm back with talking about some Southern Hearts Like His books. This is the last update. So the first book I've read is Mine by Nissan. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I don't know what the comma emphasizes in her name, but by Nissan. And I gave it a 2.5 to a 3-star. Now, let me just read what I wrote in my Goodreads review because that's how I feel now. The main things that I want to say about this book is that Basically, the book was okay for the first like 50 to 60% of the book was okay. It was fine. It was good. It wouldn't have been a favorite, but it was still good. But then around when we had like 40, 50 pages left, a weird shift occurred in the book with a whole new dynamic. And it just honestly made everything that happened in the first like 70% of the book null and void. All the growing, all the everything that happened, it is now null and void compared to what the main female character, the main FMC did. And then to have the end of the book end the way it did, it ended on doubt and on like, this is not a romantic story. And this was paranormal romance, and it was, I think it was a novella. I just didn't like it. What I wrote in my Goodreads review was, girl, what was this? The last lines of the book can't be the MMC doubting and not believing the FMC. Like, what are we doing? The last 40 pages of this book was just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. This was something all right. Because the last 40 pages, mind you, this book is 160 something pages. The last 40 pages of this book is just introducing this, introducing that, telling us this, telling us that, making this character forget this, making our character remember that. Everything happened. Everything. And I was just like, oh, so this is where we're going with the book. Okay. And I was just like, this is a lot in the last 40 pages. I don't like any of the characters enough, or even the plot enough to read, because it doesn't feel like this is the end of the story. So to read anything else, so I'm not going to. It was just weird. It was just weird, and I was like, I don't like it. So that was that. All right, so the last book I read, it was supposed to be Plus One by Tannen, but a book came off of hold that was in, you know, it's one of the books I was going to read for the last video for the Something Harsh Time Kisses, but I said depending on when it becomes available, I'll read it for either this one or that one. So I'm going to put Tannen in the last video because I read Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. And guys, I did not like this book almost at all. First of all, there was no romance between the two main people on this cover. They developed a great friendship, but there was no romantic feelings at all. There was nothing romantic, nothing. They had sex, but it was something sexual in my opinion. Like, it was very a lackluster romance, right? So this book is 350 pages, 350, and for 350 pages, around 320 of those, I'm gonna say about 300 of 350 pages, she's going on dates with multiple men, which isn't a problem, but never goes on a date with the actual MMC, doesn't talk to the MMC outside of the bar where she goes on these dates with these men at. They don't know nothing about each other really. I just find it kind of ugh. And I'm also tired in books where there's this thing of, but it's my family, so they are allowed to just be horrible to me because they're family. I don't like that. And that was a very heavy thing in this book where you have these family members verbally like chastising, and I won't say verbally abusing, that's a little harsh, but just doing some nasty stuff to this girl who has done nothing to them, still hasn't done nothing to them. And this book is very male centered in the sense of basically the plot of the book is that her uncle is going to sell a yacht that her sister loves. Her sister is dead, and he's like, if you don't got no boyfriend at your birthday party in 8 weeks, then I'm selling the yacht. And I'm thinking in my head, y'all say y'all love me, y'all say y'all love my sister, but you're gonna sell the yacht that I have memories with her on? That doesn't seem right. Also, if they have enough money for a yacht, she could buy her own. Also, this whole book is her being like, I don't need a man. I I love myself. I can get sex whenever I want to, which is all very true. This book starts with her getting it in with some guy. Like, she has no problems in her getting a love life. She has no problems in her work, no problems in her friendships, no problems with nothing. She loves her body and all this stuff. Yet you expect me to believe that she would take on a challenge that her fat also uncle gave her to save a yacht that she could buy her damn self? It's just not adding up. It's just not adding up. And then for the book to end after she's told everybody off, after she said, y'all been treating me this way and that way and this way and the third, it ends with that same uncle still giving her the keys to the yacht and her being like, and crying. Don't piss me off. It was not a good book, guys. It was not. I don't care about the friends. It was not for me. It was not for me. And I did not like it at all. I don't get the point of it. And then it's like, here's the thing. When it comes to cheating in books, I don't like it, right? However, this man wears a wedding ring. And we know as the reader, he's probably not married. He's probably just doing it because he's a widow or whatever, right? But she doesn't know that. So she thinks that the MMC of this book is married. For around 80% of this book, she thinks that man is married. And you're not doing anything with him because you feel like he's married. But you're in love with him and you think that he likes you. You're putting yourself in a position to be the other woman, and you're also putting him in the position to cheat on his wife. And you would never want that to happen. You would never want to do that, as you say, but you still are doing it. And mind you, this woman on this cover is beautiful. Coke bottle. Like, every single man she went on a date with. And mind you, it happened from page like 20 to page 350. She was going on dates with people. Every man was horrible. They were either fat phobic, they either had like a fetish for bigger women, they either had a wife who, came to the bar screaming at her. They either had children they didn't tell her about. No matter what, none of the men were good. That's also weird because that's also putting out there that a bigger woman can't get anybody else but a bad or weird or disgusting evil man. And that's also not true because she ended up with a good guy who we know nothing about, but a good guy in the end. It's just not, I don't like it. I thought her friends were lackluster friends and they low-key agreed with some toxic things that her family and parents were saying. I also think that if I'm telling you something so toxic and so mean that my parents did, the last thing I want you to do is agree with a certain part of what they said. I wanted you as a friend to talk to, not to do whatever the hell this was, which would be like, but your mom is right about. It doesn't matter what she's right about. If she said 100 things, she's right about one. Talk to me about the 99 things she said wrong. Why the hell would you tell your friend who's sad and bamboozled by something her family did that her mom was right about this one thing? This small, very small, insignificant one thing. Don't piss me off. This is the main reason I don't read traditionally published Black romance anymore. There's this big thing, in my opinion, with traditionally published Black romance is that mainly white people read it. And when it comes to that, those aren't usually the romances that I enjoy. Candy Ryan, for example, is one of them. I feel like in a lot of books, it's just, I don't. And I've heard many people who are plus size say this book was weird. Like, it wasn't horrible in its representation of bigger people or fat people because she loves herself and she's a beautiful woman and all this other stuff, which is also a weird thing because in the book they always talk about how, oh, her body, or her face, beautiful, hair, beautiful, personality and demeanor, beautiful. she's just fat. That makes no sense. But also, fat phobia makes no sense. So I get it, but at the same time, I don't get it. So I'm over it. But yeah. So let's go over what we read during this little vlog that has been going on for quite a while now. So first I read Jaquel J, A Wolf in Sheep Clothing. I gave that 4 stars. I would definitely read more by her. Better books or different books that everybody, not better books, but books that I've heard many people talk about and love. I would definitely want to read some more by her. Then I read Brianna Michelle. I read 24 Hours and I liked it. I would want to read a full novel by her. I've heard great things about another book of hers, so I would love to read another book by her. Then I read India T. Norfleet's Match My Nasty, and I gave this one 5 stars. I gave 24 Hours like a 3.5 to a 4, and India T. Norfleet, Match My Nasty, I gave it 5 stars. It was a great time. It left off on a good cliffhanger that I want to read book 2, and it had like a romance growing. It wasn't just an erotic novella, which it was fully, but it had like an underlying romance thing. But that wasn't the forefront focus of it because, again, it's an erotic novella, and I like that. Then I read Ember by Sky Moon, and I give this one a 3 star. It started out fine, and in my opinion, it went downhill from the end, like towards the middle. I just didn't care for either of the characters, but I did very much enjoy the way grief and guilt and survivor's remorse was talked about in this book. I really enjoyed the way those were all talked about, but the actual romance and relationship of it all, didn't really care for it at all. I read Nissan by not Nissan. I read Mine by Nissan, and that was good. It was okay. I gave it. Actually, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was. It would be a 2.5 to a 3 star. I didn't like the way that I didn't even like the way that the shifters and the paranormal stuff was even done in that book. But also, I just didn't like the FMC. I didn't like the last 40 pages of this book, and this book is 160 pages, so that's a good chunk of this book. And I didn't enjoy. That's a fourth of the book. I didn't enjoy the way it ended. So yeah, no. And then lastly, I read Curvy Girl Summer. You just heard me talk a lot about that book, so you know how I feel about that book. And it got a 2.5 star. Yeah. And the thing is, I got these as arcs. Not arcs, but I got these from the publishers. So I have book 2. But do I care to read book 2? I don't think so. I don't know. I'll decide. But yeah. So that's all that I read. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 authors in this one. And for the next video, I will be reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 authors. But one or two of them I might not be reading because nothing sounds interesting to me, but we'll see. So yeah, this is the second to last episode of the Southern Hearts Aside Kisses. But remember, no matter how I rate things or how I discuss things, all of us have different opinions and different likes and dislikes when it comes to books. This is a hobby, and all of our hobbies are different, and the way we like our hobbies are different. So if I give a book 1 star, that might be your next 5 star. If I give a book 5 star, that might be a book that you need to DNF. I don't know. But remember, we all have different tastes, but only your taste matters to you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have an amazing, delectable 5-star read type of day, week, month, or year. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.